everyone, how are you guys doing today? Today we are going to review Tati's new Blendiful. No, we are not. We are going to actually DIY this version of Blendiful, and then we are going to test it out on my face. I have done all my makeup today using the back side only of this sponge. So I'm going to first show you how I made this, and then I'm going to show you how it applies the makeup. So when I first saw Tati's release video, I was very disappointed, to be honest, because I was thinking that it was going to be another palette, and I have been waiting for her second palette ever since the release of her first palette. The first palette got really good reviews in the YouTube community. If you search online on Google, there are like 3 point something stars to it, like halfway through. But on YouTube at least it had great reviews. I really want to try that palette, but I did not want to get another full-size neutrals palette just for the glitter shades. I hope she releases a separate palette with just the glitter shades in future. I am dying to try out that formula. I'm not interested in the matte plus glitter formula, though that one black shade in it, I'm very interested. I was waiting for the release, and when I saw that she had released puffs, I was like, meh. I mean, come on. What? I was very disappointed. There was a comment below the video which said that the woman was initially disappointed. As the video progressed, she started like loving the product. Towards the end of the video, she was like, oh, I'm gonna love it, I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna call it my puffy. And I wrote below her that no, I kind of stopped at disappointment and stayed disappointed. And then when it got released, I went ahead and took a closer look at the pictures, and it reminded me of my one, the makeup eraser cloth that I have, and two, the half a dozen throws that I have sitting around in the house. So I was like, can I actually DIY this thing? Is it actually useful? Because the material looked exactly like one of the blankets I have in the house. And it's really old, so much so that we had decided to cut it up in fours and use it for our dog. So before doing that, I cut up a little strip off of it. Then I cut out a little pattern out of paper, kind of measured it against my hand to see how large I wanted it. And then I traced it on the strip of the blanket, making sure that the grain ran from the widest of the Blendiful to the tip of the Blendiful, because that's kind of what's the direction of fiber is in the actual product. And then I had a satin ribbon in brown. I should have used black. When I took a closer look, I realized that it was actually black and not brown. But anyway, I took a piece of it, stuck it on either ends on the correct side. Then I flipped over the two pieces and then stuck them together using literally just a fabric glue all around, except for the very top edge where I left a little slit for inversion. I stuck the two extra pieces of the ribbon on the inner side so that they don't come loose and they're kind of well secured. I let it dry, and then I flipped the whole thing through the little opening that I left. And by turning the extra edges in, I stuck them together and let it dry. And I realized that it was too floppy. Blendiful looks a little bit more puffier. So I kind of pried open the final edge again. I was looking around the house for some sponge. I was going to put some sponge inside. But I found this polyfill. I had purchased it to ship my jewelry in it. It is usually used as a stuffing in pillows and teddy bears and such, and you can pretty much throw those in your washer and they come out clean. So I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I cut out little pieces of them in the same shape as my DIY Blendiful and stuffed them inside. I actually needed to cut two pieces, and then I actually continued adding a little bit more. And then I stuck the opening back together. I let it dry overnight. And then here it is. So I applied my full makeup, as I said, with this thing. And I actually did a little side-by-side comparison with my Juno sponge as well. So let's get into that now. I don't think this is very useful, and it's going to get very messy. But anyways, since now we have this, let's give it a try and see if it actually does things that Tati says it does. Alright, so first thing she said was that you can use it to kind of smooth over your primer. So this is my usual e.l.f. poreless primer. And then I have the same Tarte primer that Tati really likes. It's called the Clean Slate Timeless Primer. She said that you can pick this up with your I don't want to do it because I feel like it's just, it kind of needs to be warmed up between your fingers, but let's pick it up. So I picked some up and okay, it's getting transferred for sure. It's not staying stuck to this. She said that it's gonna kind of smooth everything over. Well, it seems to be doing that. Okay, I have to agree. Next, I'm going to use NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I remember that at one point of time, I thought it was even better than Shape Tape. It's a little too light for me. Did it do anything amazing? I don't know. This has definitely gotten dirtier. Maybe I should apply some of my usual Shape Tape. So it is blending decently. You know what I'm thinking? Maybe we should compare this with my Juno Beauty sponge side by side. I should have done that with the concealer as well, but you know what? Now let's do that with foundation. I guess I never pressed the record button. Well, I am mixing my Boots No. 7 foundation with the Revlon Photo Ready bronzer, and I'm using my e.l.f. palette. I just started blending it using this on one side. Are we supposed to be able to use this wet? I don't know. But if you watched Tati's video with full focus, please let me know so in the comment below. So no complaints here for sure. Let's try this side with the Juno sponge. Oh, I'm running out of, I applied a lot more on this side. I'm going to mix a little bit more. Okay, this feels about equal. I've wetted my sponge as usual. So Juno sponge side, Blendiful side. Can you guys tell the difference? Not Blendiful, DIY Blendiful. So when I look up close, I definitely feel like I have more coverage here. So maybe because the Blendiful DIY is not wet, it's absorbing a little bit more product. I'm gonna try and get the sides more even. Okay, now let's try some cream contour. I'm gonna reach into my naked skin and I'm using the same side. It is definitely working as a blending tool. I've never thought to use a microfiber cloth as a blending tool before. So it's definitely working for that purpose. Let's add some cream blush. Yeah, this Ulta Beauty one. Do you see a difference? I want a little bit more on this side. It's blending very nicely. Let's try powders. Now I usually do my powders with brushes, so that's what I'm gonna do on one side. Taking my Bella Pierre powder, I'm gonna switch over to maybe this corner. Being able to pinch is definitely a great advantage. I would say, picking up some power on it. There is definitely enough real estate on this product that will allow you to do all of your makeup without having to kind of reach for something else. And I'm liking that aspect of it. Okay, I'm gonna try this Lancome blush. I'm gonna go here, this corner, tap into it. It is definitely picking up the product. This is surprising me, I have to say. Yeah, I'm liking how it's looking. Let's try the powder contour. I'm gonna fold this over, reach into the contour or bronzer shade in this. No complaints. Alright, so let me do the eyeshadows, brows, and lipstick and all that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are, you know, back again. I think this is a very useful tool. It was very smart of Tati to come up with this. It did my entire makeup with just one side. And I think it's pretty clever that you're able to kind of fold it up and, you know, use like different sides of it. It does blend makeup pretty beautifully, but as you saw, it absorbs the product a little bit more than the Juno sponge. Compared to a brush, it might be the same. So if I was traveling, I would love to carry just this. Now the only thing that remains to be tested is how it, you know, cleans and dries. Tati said that her product, you can pretty much dry it with the super freaking expensive $500 hair dryer. She's like, if you're in a hurry, you can just dry it with that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have a $500 hair dryer. And I don't know if the normal hair dryers do the same thing or not. But yeah, I don't mind it drying overnight. My Juno sponge sits here drying overnight, but I can use it wet next day. I don't know if this stays wet, if I'm able to use it the same way. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you like this DIY. If you did, don't forget to give it a giant thumbs up. If you're new, don't forget to subscribe. I have a whole series of DIYs. I have DIY'd this in the past. Do you guys remember what this was? The Fenty Beauty Glitter Bomb. When the product was released, I wanted it desperately, but I knew it was just going to literally sit on my counter collecting dust. So I DIY'd it instead, and it has been sitting on my counter collecting dust since then. And it works, you know, gorgeously still, because I never used it since then. Then I had also DIY'd one of those makeup brush washers, and it's a fun video to watch. I had DIY'd my own eyeshadows and yeah, a whole bunch of things. So if you're new, haven't seen those videos, then definitely check them out. I'll link the whole playlist down below and at the end of the video as well. Let me know if you're planning to DIY this thing, or if you have purchased this thing, or if you're planning to purchase this thing. Let me know if you want me to purchase it and compare it to our DIY product. This blanket was old, okay? It was really old. It was at least 6 years old. So I'm guessing that Tati's product is going to be softer than this. But if you want me to compare the two, let me know so in the comments below. I've been playing with that idea in my head, but since this is my no buy year, I was not planning to. But if you want to see a comparison, I will for you guys. Okay, thank you again for joining me. I'll see you guys in the next video.